This is Bakhmut, a completely destroyed city in eastern Ukraine, and the Wagner Group's main achievement during Russia's invasion. It took these fighters a staggering 10 months and catastrophic losses to capture this small settlement. Losses no other private military company in the world has ever endured. Tens of thousands dead or wounded. How does Wagner get away with not giving a damn about their fighters' lives? And what chilling inside secrets do Russian soldiers reveal? The answers will shock you.
Welcome to hell!
The first secret behind Wagner's so-called success became clear to Ukrainians back in June 2022, when Russia openly deployed this military gang to boost its offensive in eastern Ukraine. The Wagner Group was handed everything they needed for combat: heavy equipment, air defense systems, and even aviation. But their key resource? People. To ensure enough manpower, Wagner's then leader Yevgeny Prigozhin managed to recruit nearly 20,000 prisoners. He offered them a 6-month contract with some tempting promises: freedom, cash, and a brand new identity after serving their time. We only need stormtroopers. 60% of my men are stormtroopers, and you'll be one of them. But the real horror was hidden in Prigozhin's following demands for his fighters. No one retreats. No one surrenders. During training, you'll learn about the 2 grenades you must always carry. In other words, a fighter isn't allowed to be captured and live to tell the tale. They threatened us with execution to make sure we didn't surrender. They gave us grenades to blow ourselves up if captured, shared a former Wagner fighter. And that's not even the worst of it. To keep ex-convicts in line, Wagner came up with a brutal punishment system. Here's how it works. If a fighter decides to lay down their weapon or desert, they face either a severe beating or death. When we were taken to the training camp, I wanted to escape, but another guy tried it first. When he ran, they nullified him, shot him dead, recounted Andriy, who managed to surrender to Ukrainian forces. He ended up on the front lines and, within a day, walked toward the positions of the K2 battalion with his hands raised. But Wagner's most infamous symbol of punishment? A sledgehammer. In 2022, a Wagner fighter named Yevhen was captured by Ukrainian forces. During his captivity, he spoke to a journalist about his time with the group. Later, he agreed to a prisoner exchange and returned to Russia, where he was kidnapped. His former comrades executed him with that very sledgehammer. When Wagner's owner, Yevgeny Prigozhin, was asked about it, his response revealed everything about how little he valued human life. The boys are just having fun. Yes, you heard that right. A brutal murder of their own fighter was casually dismissed as nothing more than a game. The next secret of Wagner's operations lies in how they successfully locate enemy machine gun nests and strongholds by sacrificing prisoners' lives. Yes, you read that right as well. During the offensives, Wagner used assault squads of 8 to 12 fighters to approach Ukrainian positions and begin their attacks. The prisoners were sent in first, deliberately drawing fire to expose Ukrainian positions. Our commander sent us forward. At first, he walked with us, but then I looked back, and he was way behind. He wanted to see where the Ukrainian positions were. This cynical use of prisoners helped Wagner maintain the pace of their massive assaults, exhausting Ukrainian defenses. The sheer volume of attacks overwhelmed Ukraine's resources, and the losses on the Russian side? Unbelievable. They brought 50 of us. Only 12 came back alive, shared a survivor. The other 38 fighters? Dead within 3 days. When prisoners began realizing survival wasn't an option and started sabotaging orders, Wagner introduced a new form of punishment. They stationed blocking detachments behind the assault squads. They brought prisoners from the prison. They sent them forward, way ahead, and we were the blocking unit. If anyone tried to run back, we'd shoot them, a Wagner fighter confessed to his girlfriend over the phone. This shows the unofficial reality of the Russian military. 2 types of forces: the elite, who are spared, and the expendables, who aren't. But this strategy raises an obvious question. If Wagner is losing people at such a staggering rate, how do they stay operational? Before we spill the hard truth about their endless supply of manpower, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Here's the truth. Throughout the entire Bakhmut campaign, Wagner never stopped recruiting. Thanks to relentless recruitment efforts, Wagner grew from 8,000 troops to 50,000 in just 10 months. This allowed them to lose an average of 400 prisoners every week, and 90% of those losses were prisoners. How is this even possible? The answer is painfully simple. Their military training lasted just 10 to 14 days, a regular Wagner fighter brazenly told reporters. This term was echoed by 3 separate prisoners interviewed by the BBC, none of whom knew each other. To put the disaster of this kind of training into perspective, 7 to 10 days might refresh the skills of someone with combat experience, but it's laughably inadequate for training newbies. For comparison, Soviet conscripts heading to Afghanistan were trained for 4 to 6 months. The logic? If you're sending a soldier you fully expect to lose in their first week, why waste time training them? Makes sense, right? I arrived on October 3rd, spent all my time in training, and by the 14th, they sent me here, to Ukraine, shared one recruit. This utter disregard for personnel doesn't come without consequences. Occasionally, Wagner fighters turn on their own. In one video, an assault group is seen carrying their injured commander. What happens to him behind the garage a few minutes later? We won't show you, but let's just say axes were involved. Once again, Wagner proves that brutality only breeds more brutality. As Wagner swelled to 50,000 fighters, tensions with Russia's Ministry of Defense boiled over, culminating in an armed mutiny. Prigozhin's secure communications and ammunition supplies were cut off, prompting him to launch an expletive-filled tirade. We're 70% short on ammo. Shoigu, Gerasimov, where the F are the supplies? Prigozhin's march on Moscow ended in negotiations, amnesty, and disarmament. This is Russia, after all, and by August 2023, the Kremlin delivered its payback, shooting down Prigozhin's plane with air defense missiles. The Wagner Group was subsequently reorganized. Some fighters were absorbed into the Russian army, while others were shipped off to Africa. Beyond neutralizing the threat of another mutiny, Moscow had another motive. Wagner was raking in $2.5 billion a year for Russia by mining gold in Africa. But Wagner's golden expeditions came to a screeching halt in 2023. Someone decided it was time to settle the score for their crimes against Ukrainians, and their gold rush turned into a fight for survival. During an attempted coup in Sudan, Wagner and other anti-government forces faced an unexpected opponent and fierce resistance. According to the Wall Street Journal, Sudan's leader reached out to Zelensky for help. A team of Ukrainian military personnel evacuated Abdel Fattah al-Burhan from the besieged capital, then turned their focus to night operations to drive both rebels and Wagner fighters out of the city. During the battles in Omdurman, Ukrainian forces got a chance to speak to a Russian Wagner fighter. Here's what the guy told him. Rank, soldier. Unit, Wagner Group. How did you get to Sudan? Traveled through the Central African Republic to Khartoum. Mission? To overthrow the local government. Ukrainian forces also carried out strikes using FPV drones, with the process coordinated via DJI Mavic 3 drones. On the controller screen of the latter, English and Ukrainian text was visible, including the word stop. Following these successful operations in Africa, the Ukrainian side neither confirmed nor denied involvement. Instead, the head of Ukraine's military intelligence commented to journalists, "I've been openly saying for a year now that all Russian war criminals who have fought, are fighting, or plan to fight against Ukraine will be punished anywhere on the globe." As you've probably guessed, Russia deploys Wagner wherever they think they can act with impunity. These fighters have operated in Ukraine, Africa, and Syria. But would they be so bold if they went head-to-head with American Special Forces? Luckily, they got a taste of that, and it didn't end well for them. In 2018, near the Syrian town of Kasham, 500 Wagner fighters with 27 pieces of equipment launched an assault on American positions. Standing against them, a rapid response force of 50 US Marines and Green Berets. The outcome? Wagner learned what happens when they poke the bear. The assault began with a barrage of tank fire, mortars, and artillery. Some of the Russian artillery was destroyed by MQ-1 Predator drone strikes. After that, US command tried to contact the Russians to negotiate a ceasefire. The response? Russia flatly denied having any forces in the area. The American Special Forces had a few Oshkosh M-ATVs and MRAPs at their disposal. They let the Russian infantry get within 1 kilometer before unleashing devastating machine gun fire that wiped them out. Next, all 10 Russian tanks rolled forward. The Americans, without a single anti-tank missile system, relied on 2 pairs of AH-64 Apache attack helicopters. The Apaches obliterated 9 out of 10 tanks and destroyed 6 artillery pieces from the Russian armored group. By the end of the night, US forces estimated that Russians had lost about 350 Wagner fighters. Not a single American was injured. Intercepted Russian conversations give insight into their perspective. A guy called, said 215 are dead. They just rolled over us brutally. What were our guys even thinking? Russians also confirmed the destruction of their equipment. Only 1 tank and 1 BRDM survived. Everything else was wiped out in the first minutes of the battle. That's what happens when you fight against a modern army equipped with the best technology. In this case, Wagner's overwhelming manpower and sheer number of vehicles didn't stand a chance. It seems Wagner's tactics are a double-edged sword. In Ukraine, they achieved limited success on a single front, but lost at least 20,000 fighters for just 1 city. In Syria, they tried the same approach against smaller but far better equipped US forces and faced a humiliating defeat. One of Wagner Group's patches reads, "Our business is death and business is good." It's a chilling reminder that war is just a way to make easy money for these fighters. That's why the US officially designated Wagner as criminals and imposed sanctions. Do you agree with this decision? Let us know in the comments.